Over the past 10 years of hunting and filming professionally, my journey has evolved. I once sought animals and adventure, and I still seek those things. Yet now more than ever, I seek answers around the growing questions that surround myself as a hunter. I've found that my connection to the land brings a certain clarity to the rest of my life. This is what brings me back into high country. I never thought in my lifetime that I would ever get the opportunity to hunt bighorn sheep once, let alone twice. But this year, I was drawn for my second bighorn sheep tag in one of the most premier units in all of North America, right here in my home state of Montana. My initial thought is that I had screwed up on my application and wrote down the wrong number for a U permit or another area or something. Surely I hadn't drawn my second tag. Then when I refreshed the screen and I realized that my name was there and that the area was correct, I literally went numb. My day at that point was over. Finding out you've drawn a bighorn sheep tag is a feeling that I really can't describe. It's something you want to share with people, but at the same time you don't want to rub it in. But drawing your second bighorn sheep tag, well, that's a different story. I immediately knew where I needed to start, since I had hunted this area over 10 years ago. I knew the drainages that held rams early, and where the rams liked to move as the year progressed. I felt like, with my previous hunt here, I had one step up on trying to figure out where to begin my hunt. This tag can be a curse in ways, and I know that's hard to understand if you've never been put in the position, but it's good, and it's the best tag that I've ever had in my lifetime. But it's never good enough to punch your tag. I found that no ram or no situation ever seemed to stack up or be good enough to call it over. You never want this hunt to end so it becomes extremely tough to decide when to pull the trigger. I feel like it was a great first day. Got camp set up, was able to get all of our supplies put away, and actually see 2 rams at daylight this morning. And now we've worked onto this point below camp. I've wanted to kind of start tight and then work out from there. And this was the most likely ridge, kind of headed out to the north of camp. Now we're overlooking the Missouri River here. Just a beautiful view. We can kind of overlook these canyons to our east, and then the one right here behind me to the west. And although we haven't seen any sheep, we have seen a lot of sign down through here, fresh and old, so they obviously use this ridge for a means of travel through here. Just a lot of history here. Lewis and Clark, and you know, the dinosaur bones, and of course this sheep, and pretty awesome place here. I'll probably spot for a few more minutes and then hike our way back to camp. Immediately, we started finding rams. The biggest thing is finding the right ram. And having my second opportunity at this tag, I didn't want it to be over. I wanted to soak up every single moment I could, and I wanted to experience bow hunting sheep during the rut. I knew that this was going to require a lot of self-control, looking at a lot of world-class rams, and just trying to decide when was the right one. Got several rams spotted. There's two just right across 200 yards from us across this face on the other side. The big one we're looking at is clear across this big canyon. He got up once, kind of flipped directions and laid back down. There's three other rams we lost sight of over by him somewhere that could screw up a stalk if we tried one. And then there's three rams bedded down on his face over here, kind of all facing different directions. So we haven't hardly moved this morning. We've just been on this ridge, and it just seems like sheep just keep coming out of the woodwork. I feel like this is the biggest ram I've seen since I started hunting. He's really, really heavy all the way through down into the third quarters. You know, he looks like as far as I can tell, I can see, there's no doubt he's a whole other class of ram. He looks like an Angus bull over there or something. He's just big. The problem is not knowing where those three other rams are in the wind direction and where he's laying. It's a long ways to go with a somewhat low percentage stock opportunity. So it's one of those deals. I know you're not going to kill him if you don't go after him. But just trying to weigh my options right now. Where the pavement ends, on X begins. As the year progressed, I looked at a lot of rams, a lot of really big rams. But I just didn't want this hunt to be over, and I knew that the only way I would get the chance to bow hunt sheep during the rut is if I continued to pass rams. Then I found a ram that was the next level. He had everything you could possibly imagine in a bighorn sheep. He had big bases, and he had a lot of length, and his mass carrying really good down through the third quarters. He also had a dark cape, which helped me identify him amongst all the other rams in the unit. After watching this ram for a couple of days, I finally got my opportunity. He positioned himself in a spot that I felt like I could get close with a bow. About 2 hours later, I found myself at about 127 yards from the rams. But I was pinned, out of room, and the wind offered me no other approach. All I could do was wait until the rams either stood up and fed towards me or went the other direction. Either way, it should be just what I need to close those last 50 yards. As soon as I watched the ram disappear over the horizon, I knew it was now or never. As I knocked an arrow and crested where I had last seen the ram standing, I peeked over the hill, and he was at 8 yards, just feeding. The other rams were off to his right, just feeding as well. None of the rams had any idea I was here. It was just a matter of coming to full draw, putting the pin on him, and getting it done. Not even 20 yards. And he dropped down in this dip and I couldn't see him till 40. That was fun. Boy, we played that stalk perfectly. We were patient.